How's it going here? Welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to go through the Vivo X70 Pro Plus, my first impressions and walk through this. This could be a lengthy video, so just kind of stick with me here. I've already done an unboxing here, just a quick one that I posted up to my YouTube shorts. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, you can. I've also done a camera comparison between this and the Pixel 6 Pro. So if you're interested in that, I'll have a link somewhere. You can go check out that detailed camera comparison there. But this is just to walk through the Vivo X70 Pro Plus because outside of doing the camera comparison, I haven't actually used the phone a ton. So I just kind of want to explore it. And I may as well share that with you, and then I'll use it extensively over the next week, and maybe I'll come back next week and give you more of an update after actually using it. But as you can see here, you've got a really nice set of hardware here. I think a lot of the reviews I've seen have either been the black or the leather orange color. This is the blue leather back color. I don't think I've any seen any reviews on this yet, and I think this is probably the nicest color. I really like this color blue here. You can see that supposedly leather back or pleather. I really highly doubt that's real leather, but it could be. They say it is, but we'll see. You can see the Vivo branding there. Of course, the triple camera system, which is really the highlight of this phone. That 50 megapixel Samsung GN1 sensor up there with an ultra wide angle camera. It's got a periscope zoom camera for 5x optical zoom, 2x telephoto camera, and of course a 48 megapixel ultra wide. You can see they branded it right there. You can see that under the Pro Plus, it says Vivo and Zeiss partnership there. You can see the Zeiss branding with the T-lens coating to help reduce glare and lens flare as well. So a really nice textured back. I like this kind of leather feel to it because it adds grip. It's not as slippery as traditional glass backs, and I really like that offset of that blue color. You can see it's also offset by this anodized blue aluminum frame, which I really like. Let me try to get a decent shot there. You can see there, really nice anodized aluminum frame there, and you can see the speaker port, Type-C port microphone, as well as the SIM card tray right there. You've got all your buttons on one side, so you've got the power button and the volume rocker there, nothing on the other side. And then up top, you can see here you got a microphone, and it does supposedly have an IR blaster. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I don't see a remote app on this, so if you guys know how to kind of use the IR blaster on this, let me know. I don't see a actual remote app like you do with the Xiaomi phones. And if I can get a better shot of that, I've got a photo I'll probably put up if I can't see that. It says kind of professional photography up there on the top, which is a really nice touch there as well. And so you can see here, let's go ahead and check out maybe some of the specs if you guys are interested in that. I don't have them memorized off the top of my head. Let's see, you got a Snapdragon 888 Plus, so the latest and greatest system on a chip there. And this is also powered by Android 11, so this is going to be Vivo's Origin OS. So this is the Chinese version. It's not the international global version, which comes with FunTouch OS. But either way, they're both built off of Apple's Color OS. Vivo, Oppo, OnePlus, all same company, merging on the operating systems. So if you're familiar with Color OS, it's going to look similar to Color OS. But because it's Origin OS, which is native to China, it's going to have a little bit more interesting kind of features on top of it that make it look not as Android in some areas, but I've kind of customized the settings down to be more like traditional Android. We'll go through that when we do a lot of the settings walkthrough. You can see it is a 6.78-inch LTPO AMOLED display, so it's going to LTPO technology will help kind of do that variable refresh rate to help you save on battery, because it does have a 120 hertz high refresh rate if you want it. HDR10 plus compliant, gets up to 1500 nits of brightness, so a super bright display. Quad HD 1440p by 3200 pixels, 20:9 aspect ratio if you're interested in all that stuff. This is the 12 gigs of RAM, 512 gig version here. So it does come in different configurations, as little as 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. It does have super fast UFS 3.0 storage. We went through the camera specs. Selfie cameras, a 32 megapixel front facing camera. It can record up to 4K from the front facing camera, which is nice. You have stereo speakers, no headphone jack, and it's a 4500 milliamp hour battery, just like pretty much any other Vivo, OnePlus phone, because they use the same battery charge technology. It seems like they're capped at that 4500 because I think they do the split battery to get that super fast wireless charging or fast charging, wired charging. It does have 55 watt fast charging, not the 65 watt that you see on the OnePlus and Oppo phones for whatever reason, but it's still really fast, uses the same similar technology, which is why, again, you're capped at that 4500 milliamp hour battery. It does have reverse wireless charging. It has fast wireless charging with the proprietary charger. So basically, you know, high-end phone with all the traditional high-end specs that you would expect if you're into all those kind of specs. So nice little curved display. I know not everyone likes that kind of curved display, but I do. Kind of spills over to the side, makes it a little bit more narrow, easier to hold. So I kind of like that curved displays, and really good curved displays, which this does have. You don't get any kind of false touches. I'm not getting any of that stuff here on this particular phone. I do like the centered front-facing camera there. Oppo and Vivo used to have it up in the upper left. In the previous phones with the Find X2 Pro, all that stuff, they've centered it, which I like. And then, you know, with the biometrics and stuff, it's really fast. So you can see the fingerprint sensor there. We can tap on it and it unlocks the phone pretty quickly. It's just, if anything, it's slow because the animation, which you can kind of customize and turn off. But there you go, fast fingerprint scanner, and the face unlock is super fast. So you can see here it's trying to work, and as soon as I point at my face, it unlocks. And if I do that pointing at my face, unlocks immediately. You can kind of see the animation up top by the selfie camera right there. So you can see it go and unlock. So really fast face unlock, really fast fingerprint sensor. So biometrics and security on this thing are really nice. And so you can see here the LTPO AMOLED display are really nice and bright and vivid. Also with the lock screen, you can see alternating wallpapers, which I really like. You can customize that in your settings if you don't like that, and choose which sets of wallpapers to show, but I do like that. It's a nice touch there. But you know, it really shows off this really nice bright Quad HD AMOLED display. And so you can see here, this is pretty much what ColorOS looks like, even though, you know, Origin OS built on ColorOS. This is Origin OS 11. You can see here, this is what the quick toggles look like. And if we go into the settings here, you can see here, this very much looks like ColorOS icons because it pretty much is. And we can go into System and About, and this is what we're working with here. Like I said, Origin OS. You can see here, all the specs we just went over, Snapdragon 888 Plus, 12 gigs of RAM plus 4 gigs of extra virtual RAM if you want that. So it'll even say here, 4 gigs of phone storage can be used for extended RAM. Lots of phones are starting to do this right now with the storage to add more actual RAM to your phone if you want. You know, other companies like Realme GT, which is a sub-brand of Xiaomi. Xiaomi is also doing it, obviously. So a bunch of home companies are starting to do this now, where they're using available storage as extra RAM. Again, Origin OS built on Android 11 there, and this is the 512 gigs version. You can see we are running the, let's see, October security patch right there. So right there, October. So quite, not really up to date, maybe about a month behind, but overall not too bad there. And while we're in here, we can go through some of the basic settings here. Let's see, display and brightness. So you do obviously have your auto bright dark modes on, and this is also where you get variable dark mode. So OnePlus just added that kind of 3-stage dark mode where you can have darker to lighter, but it's only 3 different options. This actually has a slider, so you can actually choose from pitch black, you know, and you can choose, you know, let's see if we can get that to go. There you go. So you can slide it all the way down to lighter, and we can kind of move it all the way up to where you want. So variable dark mode here, similar to what OnePlus just implemented in their Oxygen OS 12, Android 12. And then let's see here, we got things around screen resolution. So you can see right there, 1440, you can dumb it down to 1080p if you want to save some battery. We have refresh rate here. So this is on the variable refresh rate right now to save some battery. You can force it down to 60 hertz to save even more battery, or just force it to always be on 120 hertz if you want to really take advantage of that high refresh rate all the time. I'm just going to leave it on variable because it's pretty much smooth. Even with on this variable refresh rate, I can't really tell. So it helps save on some battery while still looking really smooth anyway. So I just leave it on that. You have some visual enhancements if you want. I kind of keep it off because sometimes the artificial coloring and all that stuff really messes with the colors too much. I don't really prefer that, but you can enable that if you want. So that's some basic display settings right there. Also, let's see, display, I'm pretty sure you can get screen colors. There you go. So if you want it a little bit, you know, presets, you can do that. If you want it cooler or warmer, you have some of that calibration settings here if you want. And then let's go out and we can see, you know, here's all your home screen kind of settings if you want. So home screen customizations, you can, out of the box, it's set to standard, where it's just a grid of icons, kind of like iOS. So if you want a app drawer, you have to go into here and enable that, which I've done. And then on the home screen layout, you can choose all the way up to the max grid 5x7, which is what I have it on, to fit as much as you can on your home screen grids. And then you can also customize the size and type of icons, so you can round them out if you want. If you don't like square, you can adjust the size of it here as well. And a bunch of other customization options as well. So pretty customizable home screen there. And we can try to get back into that here. And we also have lock screen customization settings. So this is lock screen poster. So this is where you can get the random wallpapers that I was showing you earlier. So you can go into type of subscription to choose the different wallpaper packs that you want to have shown on your home screen. I've deactivated a bunch of them and just kept some of the nature ones, space ones, etc. And then, you know, you have to go ahead and say rotate wallpapers, enable that, and that's how you get that rotating wallpaper with those random types of wallpapers that you had selected. And then we also have lock screen style. So you can go into here and you can download additional lock screens, I guess, from their store probably. And then always on display. So if you want it always on display, you can enable that. I disabled that to save some battery. But again, just like a lot of these phones, you have a bunch of different kind of lock screen customizations that you can do. So you can put different clock styles, you know, you can put your calendar on there, and a bunch of additional styles if you want. So you can see all of them right here. So heavily customizable lock screen like you see on a lot of phones these days. So we'll go back, and you can do obviously a bunch of different themes like I showed you. Here's your wallpaper settings. We can go through some of the wallpapers that maybe it comes with. Let's see, here's some static wallpapers, so you can see some of the different wallpapers that it comes with here and what that might look like. All the stock wallpapers are here. And then you can go into some live wallpapers, I guess, as well. And we can go into that, and this is what that looks like. I think you can download some more, but that's the one that it comes with by default. And that's all your different home screen settings. And we can go into, so Joby's basically their personal voice assistant. I don't use that. System navigation, so this is where you can change if you want the button layout or if you want the swipe gestures, which is what I have on right now. You have game mode options, so now a lot of phones are choosing a lot of customization here when you do a lot of gaming. So if you're a gamer, you do a lot of gaming, these are some options that are coming on a lot of phones, regardless if it's a gaming type phone. It's got all these types of things. This one particularly has like lighting effects, and other ones will let you do things like around blocking notifications so you're not distracted, muting calls, all that kind of stuff, and just trying to minimize distractions, maximize gameplay. So that's what basically those settings will help you do. I don't game a lot, so I don't use any of that, but if you do, they have all that there for you. Security and privacy, so there's some basic settings here. I'm not gonna, I wouldn't rely on a whole ton of privacy, but they do have some options here. App encryption, you can hide apps, you can do file safe box, which you can lock away some apps under a password. So all those things, if you want to do a lot of that stuff, it's right there in security and privacy. Digital well-being, which is a standard Android feature, you can enable, and this is where it's gonna be. And of course, RAM and storage space. So like I said, 512 gigs of storage on this particular model here. And of course, you have the RAM with the virtual RAM. If you don't want to use extended virtual RAM, you can disable that. But if you got the extra storage, especially with this 512 gig model, why not use it like I am? Just maximize your performance that way. And then here's what the battery menu looks like. And you've got general battery saver settings, regular battery saver, super power saving mode, sleep modes, all that stuff to really help you maximize your battery life if you want. You can look at your power consumption, and this is what that menu looks like, where people like to go and check out how their battery is operating and performing, what's taking up a lot of battery life, all that kind of stuff. Enable battery percentage right here. So if you want to see the percentage up on your status bar, that's where you can enable that. So those are a whole bunch of the specific customization settings that you can do on the Vivo X70 Pro Plus with Origin OS. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the display. I'm going to fire up a video and let's go ahead and see what the display quality looks like here. Okay, so I've got a 4K 60 frames per second HDR video queued up. Let's go ahead and check it out. It's at the max resolution setting right now here in YouTube. And so this is what it's going to look like here on this really nice display. As you can see, it's super bright. It's actually even too bright for the camera. And as you can see here, it's actually pretty low brightness right now. So it's actually really, really bright display, as you can see here. And in person, this thing looks really, really nice. And it's actually kind of blowing that out a little bit more, even though it's on a very low brightness setting. So very bright display, like I said before, 1500 nits of brightness. If you understand what that means, it just means it gets really, really bright. So outdoor visibility is not going to be a problem with this thing. And looking at this thing indoors, it looks really, really good. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and check out the dual speakers. So I'm going to queue up something for us to listen to here. So let's go ahead and pick some non-copyrighted music here and check it out. Crank up the volume. Let me try to play something else. Let's go ahead and pick a different kind of beat here. And then maybe one more just to give it a different kind of feel. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pick this one here. So there you go. I'm not sure how that came across on camera for speaker quality, but the speakers are nice and loud, dual speakers again from the bottom and then through the earpiece. So not the loudest, but it's more than loud enough to just kind of watch some casual videos and all that. And so of course, because it's a spec sheet warrior, it's got the latest Snapdragon 888 Plus SoC, 12 gigs of RAM. This thing just flies. Let's go ahead and kind of clear everything out here. So let's go ahead and clear all the apps, and then, you know, basic app launching, obviously it's going to be no problem. You can see it just go through here. You can see what the scrolling looks like, and you can check out Wayne's photos here. Wayne, if you're not following Wayne on Twitter, he posts some really amazing photos from his Pixel. Go check him out if you like photography. But you can see how Twitter kind of just scrolls pretty nice and smooth, and, you know, no problem obviously with that. And we can go ahead and launch something like Instagram, see what the load time is like on that. And, you know, here's what it looks like scrolling. People are pretty interested in this kind of stuff, scrolling speeds and all that. So this is what it looks like here on the Vivo. And then of course launching YouTube, that's what that looks like. Pretty nice and snappy. Going through all the thumbnails and loading, still pretty quick and snappy. Not a lot of problems there. We can load up the browser. You can see there, X70 Pro Plus. If you want to head and check out some specs on GSM Arena, and scroll through that. And this is what the recents menu looks like. So it has that horizontal scrolling, but if you want to go through kind of this vertical kind of scrolling, you can choose that. So you can see more at one time. You can choose that, or just put it back to the traditional Android horizontal scroll. So all that's there. So performance for basic stuff like that's not a problem. And then let's go ahead and check out some gaming samples, because people like to see some basic games there. All right, and lastly, as you can see here, this thing actually comes with a wireless pair of earbuds. You can see there it has faintly some branded Vivo branding. You can see right there. So really nice. Actually, it looks a lot like AirPods Pro, obviously, but you can see what that looks like here. Actually, I've got a pair of AirPods Pro right here. So that's how it looks like. Pretty much looks nearly identical to AirPods Pro. We can pop it open. You can see what it looks like from the top. They just go in the opposite way. But as you can see there, as soon as I popped it open, it wants to pair it just like AirPods. So we'll tap connect. I haven't set these up obviously, so we'll set them up on camera. You connect it up, you can see the battery life on each as well as the case, so that's pretty cool right there. So that's actually the buds themselves, and of course they're just like AirPods Pro with the stem style, you can see here. So that's what they look like right there. And I put them in, they're fairly comfortable, obviously depending on the ear tips that you use, but you know, if you like these kind of style of buds, you know, comfortability is not too bad. You can see the one tap quick pair just like AirPods on the Vivo. And then let's go ahead and quickly check out the audio options and sound options that you have here. Let's see if they have any kind of advanced audio options. So let's go in here, sound and vibration. And these are all the sound settings here that you have, but let's go ahead and see what they have for audio. So you can see they're super audio. Let's go check this out. It looks like just some presets if you want. So if you connect a wired pair of sets, I guess, instead of the wireless ones that I got here, you can change the presets if you want. It also has hi-fi audio, you can see here, so you can choose what apps support hi-fi audio. So you can see it says right here, this is only available in the earphone mode, and playing it through hi-fi will increase power consumption, but you can choose what apps you can apply this effect to if you want. And then let's see, we've got ear customized sound effects. So here we go. So if you turn this on, it'll customize the sound. You want to start with your age, and then, you know, you can add custom sound settings, and it'll take you through, I guess, customizing the sound to your own particular ears. So that's kind of cool. Depending on what kind of phone this can work, I'll probably try to use it over the next week and give you an update on that in my next video. But some pretty cool sound customizations. No Dolby Audio or anything like that. I don't see any kind of EQ settings either. So it would have been nice to actually have some actual EQ settings here, where you can actually customize the sound profile for what you listen to. I don't see any of that stuff here, but that's kind of what you have as far as audio. All right, so now let's talk about the cameras on the Vivo X70 Pro Plus. That's its standout feature. That's probably why you're getting the phone. That's definitely why I got this phone. I want to check out the camera system that everyone's been raving about. So I've been calling this the best set of cameras on a smartphone in 2021. And the hardware is pretty much the same as the X60 Pro Plus from last year, except the big difference is Vivo's got their own custom V1 chipset in this that does nothing but image signal processing from what I understand. So all that means is that they have a dedicated custom chip with how they want to see images and videos processed. So they're no longer dependent on Qualcomm's processing that's on their Snapdragon 888 chipset. They have their own dedicated chipset for that type of processing. So that means they just control the entire stack now, from the time you take in the image data through the sensor to how they want it processed to how they want you to see it. And so that's actually producing some really nice images. You can see here the camera app and what that looks like. This is pretty much standard Color OS camera app if you're familiar with Color OS and what that looks like here. So definitely the swipe style to get to all the different camera modes. And so you have, photo, portrait mode, night mode, all the standard modes. You can use full resolution from that 50 megapixel sensor if you want there with high resolution mode. You have Pro mode for both photos, so you can see all the manual controls there, as well as video. So your Pro video mode as well there. And a ton of different camera modes right there. So you can see all that stuff right there. And a lot of that stuff is kind of just gimmicky camera modes that maybe you want to use, but the main one there is Super Moon in the middle. So that lets you take some really nice detailed pictures of the moon. I'll show you some samples of what that looks like. And the one toggle that I want to show you in the camera app is this Zeiss mode here. So by default, it's going to process in its auto mode, which is going to create some more boosted colors or saturated colors. And so if you want more true to life colors, tap this Zeiss mode there. You can see there it goes into natural color enabled. So if you want more true to life mode or true colored photos, use Zeiss mode. And so I'm gonna go ahead and show you some photo samples right now. We'll talk to it. All this is in my camera comparison, but this is just me giving you my opinion about how the cameras and what the photos look like. So this was taken with auto mode. So you can see here, a lot of the greens and blues are definitely pumped up and saturated. And this photo is taken in more natural Zeiss mode. So you can see the colors are much more true to life, much more muted. Some people don't like that. They want the colors that pop. Use auto mode. If you want more true to life muted colors, use Zeiss mode. And so that's what that's gonna look like. Zoom is pretty good too. So this is kind of more 20 times digital zoom here. And you can see here, this turns out pretty good. Pretty much on par with the Pixel 6 Pro and its digital zoom and how it can clean up an image like that. This one didn't look as good. I thought the Pixel 6 Pro probably did better with this one, but it looks pretty good compared to other phones that would take this photo with that type of digital zoom. So digital zoom is pretty good on here as well. And then you can see here some of the different photos here. So this is 2 times digital zoom here, which actually came out really nice and has some good amount of detail to it. And then this next photo is with just a telephoto lens. It doesn't come out as in focus just because of the minimum focusing distance. You can't get too close to subjects with a telephoto lens, and because it won't really be able to completely focus there. But otherwise, other photos like this is coming out really nice. I took a bunch of photos in auto mode and Zeiss mode that you can kind of see here that I'll probably scroll up on the screen. And yeah, I take some really nice photos there. And then let's go ahead and check out Super Moon. So this was taken with the Super Moon feature. So pretty good detailed looking shots of the moon. Pretty much on par with the S1 Ultra and what you're seeing from Xiaomi with this type of feature. But that's kind of what the Super Moon feature looks like. Pretty good amount of detail. I think I have a more recent one with a full moon. So you can see what that looks like here. Different zoom lengths, different focal lengths here. Pretty good detail there in Super Moon. I think comes out pretty nice. Now, low light shots, I think, are really, really good. This is where this phone pretty much excels. Like everyone's been mentioning, I wasn't really sure. I was kind of skeptical, but it does come out very nice and a lot really detailed and well balanced. So it doesn't really need a night mode. This is kind of without night mode, and with night mode, I'll show you some shots here. It doesn't really need night mode because of how much light it lets into that large sensor. And it just doesn't really brighten up and over brighten the scene, so it doesn't even look like night. It controls a shot. So you can see the darks are pretty dark in the night sky, and then all the lights are pretty well controlled. So they're not kind of really flaring out. They're pretty nice and tight, and they're not completely flared. You can see a lot of detail within the lamps and the lights. And so overall, really nice controlled photos and low light, really sharp, look really, really nice, even from the front facing camera. Although, there's some beauty mode shots in here that look kind of creepy, if you ask me, but I showed some beauty mode shots in there. So the front facing camera, even in low light, is pretty good as well. That's kind of how it looks. And as far as video is concerned, it's probably not low point, but that's probably where it struggles. It's not as good to me in video quality. It's not quite as sharp and quite as good as some other phones, but it's definitely more than passable. Colors are going to be on the natural true to life side, so if you like that, that's what they're going to produce. It's not going to be as sharp and not as detailed as some other phones can produce with video. But photography, which is probably their main focus here, is very, very good for both daylight shots and definitely excels at low light. And of course, you saw the Super Moon feature. And then lastly, here's some low light shots of my dog. I thought this came out really nice. This is a pretty dark scene, And so this is where it brightened up enough, but to capture a lot of detail. Usually in low light, this is where phones fail. It won't just look very soft, but it'll be very muddled, and you're not going to see a lot of detail in the fur like this. Edge detection is very nice. It's a really nice portrait shot here by the Vivo. Really well controlled, and really good amount of detail here. A lot of times portrait mode in this particular shot looks terrible on a lot of phones, and it came out actually very impressive here on the Vivo. So there's my thoughts on the camera there. I think, you know, it does not disappoint as far as what I can see. And so definitely, if you're into photography, you're going to enjoy this phone. So there you go. That's my first impressions and walkthrough of the Vivo X70 Pro Plus. If you've got any other questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll try to answer what I can, because like I said, I'll pop my SIM in this, use it over the next week, and I'll come back with a follow-up video. And if you have any specific questions that I can help answer, maybe I'll answer it in that video or along the way. So again, questions or comments, leave them down below. And as always, thanks for watching.